Dear students, a topic of today's lecture, our discipline, Standardization of Medicines, is use of physical and physical-chemical methods for identification, purity research, and quantitative determination as standardization of medicines. Speaker, Doctor of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Professor Vilchinska Elena. Content: list of physical and physical-chemical methods that are used in standardization of medicines. Determination of physical properties of substances, optical, chromatography, and spectral methods. Practically directed educational objectives of the lecture is to study physical and physical-chemical methods in the development of quality standards of medicines, which are used in the practical pharmacy for identification, purity research, and quantitative determination of medicines. Test: what of the following is a chromatographic method? The correct answer is C, thin layer chromatography. Determination of physical properties of substances: viscosity, optical rotation, refractive index, relative density, melting point, transparency and turbidity of liquid, degree of coloration of liquid, potentiometric pH determination. Optical methods: fluorimetry, atomic emission spectrometry, atomic-absorption spectrometry, ultraviolet and visible absorption spectrophotometry, infrared absorption spectrometry for identification, purity research, and quantitative determination of medicines. Chromatography: thin layer chromatography, gas chromatography, liquid chromatography, gel filtration for identification, purity research, and quantitative determination of medicines. Instrumental methods: electrophoresis, nuclear magnetic resonance, X-ray fluorescence spectrometry, infrared spectrometry, Raman spectrometry, inductively coupled plasma, atomic emission spectrometry for identification, purity research, and quantitative determination of medicines. Transparency and turbidity of a liquid, determined by comparison with a solvent or standard. The same glass tubes with diameter 15-25 millimeters. Preparation of the standard: solution of hydroxyzine sulfate and hexamethylentetramine. Degree of coloration of a liquid: determination of degree of coloration in the raw brown, yellow, red visually. Compare with standards. Stock solutions: yellow, red, blue. Basic solutions: brown, brown, yellow, yellow, greenish yellow, red. Potentiometric pH determination. pH is a number that conventionally characterizes the concentration of hydrogen ions in aqueous solutions. Temperature from 20 to 25 degrees of Celsius. Relative density. Relative density of substance is the ratio of the mass of certain volume of this substance to the mass of an equal volume of water at 20 degrees of Celsius. Density expressed in kilograms per cubic meters. Refractive index. We can use refractometer. Refractive index is a medium relative to air is equal to the ratio of the sine of the angle of incidence of the light beam in air to the sine of the angle of refraction of the light beam in the medium. Temperature about 20 degrees of Celsius. Optical rotation. Optical rotation is the property of substance to rotate the polarization area of polarized light. Optical rotation is positive for right rotatory substances. Optical rotation is negative for left rotatory substances. Viscosity. Dynamic viscosity, kinematic viscosity. Dynamic viscosity is a tangential force per unit surface expressed in Pascal. Kinematic viscosity obtained by dividing the value of the dynamic viscosity by the density of the liquid measured at the same temperature. Melting point is physical substance constant which allows to identify a melting substance to determine the degree of its purity. We can use capillary method for solids, open capillary method for amorphous substances. Fluorimetry. Fluorescence spectrophotometry is method based on measuring the intensity of fluorescence emitted by a test substance relative to the fluorescence emitted by a standard. Atomic emission spectrometry. Atomic emission spectrometry is a method of determination of the content of a chemical element in a sample by measuring the intensity of one of the emission lines of an atomic pair of an element. Flame atomization is more commonly used. Disadvantage of the method: not for all elements the flame is sufficient for atomization. Atomic-absorption spectrometry. Atomic absorption is the process of absorption by atoms which are in the ground state of electromagnetic radiation of certain wavelength, as a result of which they pass into an excited state. Atomic absorption spectrometry is a method for determining the content of a chemical element in a sample by measuring the absorption of electromagnetic radiation by an atomic pair on the element being determined. Atomic absorption spectrometry. They are distinguished by the method of atomization, electrothermal evaporation, by flame, generation of hybrids, or method of cold steam. IR spectrophotometers are used to record spectra in the area from 4,000 inverse centimeters to 650 inverse centimeters. Spectrophotometers with Fourier rotation. Spectrum is supplied as a function of transmission. Spectrum is supplied as a function of absorption. Liquids are examined in the form of film between two transparent plates or in cuvette. Solids in the form of a suspension or disc shaped of alkali metal halides. Gases in a special cuvette. You can see the spectrophotometers that are used to record IR spectra. You can see the IR spectrum of 5-fluorouracil, of acetic acid. You can see the signals of the functional groups, hydroxy group, keto group. Ultraviolet and visible absorption spectrophotometry. Spectrophotometry is used for measuring in ultraviolet and visible spectral regions. It consists of an optical system that emits monochromatic radiation in the area of 200 to 800 nanometers, an instrument for measuring optical density. The slide shows a diagram of the structure of the ultraviolet spectrophotometer. You can see the spectrophotometers that are used to record ultraviolet spectra. You can see the ultraviolet light spectrum. And ultraviolet spectrum of medicine 5-fluorouracil. Test. In which instrumental method is the flame atomization process used? The correct answer is C. Atomic emission spectrometry. The questions which we consider today are determination of physical properties of substances, optical, chromatographic and spectral methods, which are used in medical practice and pharmacy, analysis of medicine's quality. Recommended reading for study of discipline standardization of medicines. Thank you for your attention.